Welcome into ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and Tenitra. Coming up on today's show, oh my goodness, Arthur Smith said that he hopes Desmond Ridder brings balance to the offense. What does that exactly mean?
And we have an amazing special guest for you guys, a true scholar athlete right here from the A who's putting it down tomorrow at the Celebration Bowl.
And last but not least, for the culture, Todd McShay, I got an issue. And we're going to talk about all that right here on ATL Day Ones. Let's go.
This is ATL Day Ones, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. And it starts now.
I just want to say thank you for making ATL Day Ones your first listen today. Remember, we're free and available wherever you download your podcast. Wherever you download your podcast, make sure you leave us a 5-star review. We really appreciate that from you in advance. Today's episode of ATL Day Ones brought to you by Bet Online T. It's going down in NOLA, in New Orleans. Desmond Ridder gonna make his first start.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that I thought was very interesting this week was Arthur Smith talked about pushing the offense with Desmond Ridder in the game. And also, he talking about he hope he brings balance to the game. Like, in your mind, like, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear a coach say something like that about a rookie quarterback replacing an 8-year vet, right?
Exactly. I feel like it gives him the opportunity to do what he wants to do on any down. So whether that's first down and you want to try to do like pump fake, you want to do play action because now you've set up the run so many times. If you want to do that, you can do that. Even if you're in third and long, because how many times did we see just before the bye, Jarvis? I think it was in that first quarter, if you will, almost in the first half, it was like an 0-for-7 situation. Right. And really, Coach Arthur Smith did not have the opportunity to really open up the arsenal. So I got a feeling that he feels like now he can work with everything in the toolbox.
You know what? I'm totally with you because when you think about the skill set, right? Like in the big time and Desmond Ridder, what he brings to the table, he has a big arm. He's willing to take chances, and I think that Arthur Smith is going to utilize that because, you know, from Marcus Mariota's standpoint, and I hate to keep bringing it up, but I have to make my point. He missed those things, those opportunities, and I think when you talk about an offense that is run heavy, you have to be able to connect on those shot plays. It's going to happen maybe like 2 to 3 times a game, and we've seen in the past for the last month or so, they just haven't been able to hit those. And I think that Desmond Ridder is in the game because Arthur Smith wholeheartedly believes that, hey, I feel like this guy can hit those shot plays because you have to be able to hit those plays in order for those defenses kind of back off a little bit because they're going to be low in the box because everybody knows in the NFL that Arthur Smith wants to run the rock and he's going to run 12 personnel. He's going to try to figure that bad boy out.
Indeed. And what I love about these possibilities, you just hit on it. Last 2 weeks ago, we were literally in the press box saying, wow, so many missed opportunities for touchdowns, so many missed opportunities in the red zone. And you think about how much pressure that kept putting on Grady Jarrett's unit. And yes, I call it, Grady's unit, because on the defensive side of the ball, they were like really trying to play a game. It was like the defense was playing a catch-up game because the offense wasn't giving them enough to work with. I think that when you have someone like Desmond Ridder being a bit more versatile, he gives that defense a chance to breathe, and that gives them an opportunity to reset because they've been game planning for someone different because they game planned for Jameis Winston in week 1. Now you're game planning for Andy Dalton. So in addition to that change in quarterback, this just gives you an opportunity to kind of dig in deeper and figure out what it is that you want to do because now you might have some weapons on the other side that'll give you a lead that you can actually work with, and then Dean Pease can do some things.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing that David Brown kind of touched on this week as well, like as far as adjustments within the game. And whether that be after their first drive, after, a lot of offensive OCs come out with the scripted plays and try to see what the defense is trying to give them. And I think that New Orleans Saints is going to be trying to figure some things out as well. Yeah. So, Dennis Allen, he loves to send that pressure.
Yes.
And so I think that when you have a rookie quarterback and only really the film that you have is from the preseason, and you're very generic in the preseason, I think that the Saints are going to be probably a little bit generic as well in that first drive, and then they're going to make those in-game adjustments. But I think that David Brown, Arthur Smith, they're going to have their ears peaked as well because they're going to okay, what are they trying to show us? What are they trying to see us? And I wouldn't be surprised if you see some shot plays in that first drive, because I think Arthur Smith wants to set the tone and try to get that crowd, take that crowd out of the game. And I think Desmond Ridder is going to be more than willing to try to be like, all right, coach, let's go do this.
Yeah. Indeed.
So
that was our happy place.
Right, that was
And
our happy
now-
place. Now to the defense. All right. Oh, Mr. Pease. Mr. Pease, I think one of the things that we all know, like Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill have given the Atlanta Falcons all type of nightmares. And even if Taysom hasn't done anything against the rest of the league, he makes sure. It seems like he makes a point to kind of like, all right, I'm playing against this black and red team twice a year. I'm gonna make sure the coach put me in the game.
Yes.
And I think that he was the guy that came in like in the opening game against the Falcons and made the difference, right? Like because Jameis Winston, they were playing really well against him, and then once they inserted Taysom Hill into the game, that's when you start to see the game trying to change again. Do you think that's going to be something that they try to implement again?
Oh, definitely. I think this is one of those situations where they have to, because Andy Dalton is a bit of a statue. So, it's not like just a little bit.
Red rifle, a little stiff.
Right. Exactly. So it's not like he gives them any flexibility or versatility to kind of move around and get outside and kind of run, if you will. And Jameis at least gave you a little bit of that. You don't really get that from Andy Dalton. You do get it from Taysom Hill. And so, that's been a sneaky good weapon for them over the last couple of years. So, I don't doubt that Dennis Allen and company are going to try to definitely bring him in. Now, of course, it's going to be interesting because we talked about this earlier in the week, and the fact that every team in the NFC South is still in it. So this game actually truly does matter. So maybe more so than in any season in the last couple of years where both of these teams are actually vying for something. Now, you want to talk about a team that's in a fight for their lives? That's your Atlanta Hawks.
Life support?
Yeah.
Can we say that? Clint Capela is out for 2 weeks?
Yeah.
And we know that, even when he was in the game, the defense down low looked a little shaky. Yeah. So I think that, and Oyeka looked a little shaky when coming in and filling in that role. And I think that he had a little struggles. Because Lord knows, Orlando Magic, they are long and tall. Yes. Like those guys are athletes, and I think they took advantage of the Atlanta Hawks when Capela went out of the game. And I think that when you think about him not being in that starting lineup, and who's already out of the lineup, I don't see any hope right now for the Atlanta Hawks.
Exactly. This is one of those things where when Jarvis and I were in pregame and pre-brief, we were saying to ourselves, this could be Nate McMillan's finest hour. Because if Nate McMillan is able, because think about it, John Collins is rehabbing well, but there's no timetable that we've been given, and we're going into a third week of having him out, And DJ, we're going into a second week. They say that he's rehabbing well too, but we still don't have an ETA for when he's coming back. So now you're down those guys. DeAndre just came back, and you hope he stays. You hope he doesn't re-injure himself. And now you've got Clint down. And like you said, the bench is going to have to understand they have got to play like they're starters.
Yes.
When they're inserted into the starting lineup, they've got to have a starter's mindset. So Onyeka Okongwu, if you're playing the 5, you have to realize you're the cleanup guy.
Yep.
Like you are the cleanup guy, and there's nothing that you can do about that but clean up. So he had a good game. He had actually a bounce back game against the Magic, double. So that's the kind of thing that the Hawks are definitely going to have to get out of him. AJ Griffin, he continues to do what he needs to do on the offensive end, but I'm hoping that maybe he can give him a little bit more on the wing, because the Hornets are a team that the Hawks obviously beat them in the play-in round last year. So they have the tools to beat them and the resources, but you've got to guard the wing. Because every team we already know in this league
out on the 3-point line.
Yes. And we know DeAndre Hunter will do that, but admittedly, when Dre has to carry the load offensively, then his defensive effort kind of falls off.
Right.
So we definitely, and we need the offense from Dre. So that's fine. But if DeAndre Hunter has to do what he did Wednesday, getting 20 out of 20 of his 25 points in the second quarter just to keep the Hawks in it, then that means everybody else is going to have to take up the slack and give help on the wing. Or otherwise, this night is going to be a long night ahead of a lot of long nights.
Oh, yeah. Let me add one more thing. Hey, Trey, we need you to hit some trays. I hate to be a little whack right there. You might say, hey, Jarvis, that wasn't a good one. It wasn't meant to be a joke.
Right.
Like that's a plea. That's a plea.
Yeah.
They need you, Trey. So speaking of trades and pleading and begging, you don't have to beg for no money because guess what? You're about to go to betonline.net right now because it's the fastest and easiest way to fill out your betting needs. They got scores, lines, and games, each and everything that you need in order to win you some money. Because hey, the Falcons are down there and in New Orleans, I think the Falcons have 4 points, and in New Orleans is a favorite by 4 points. So that's the spread you're trying to figure out. What do you need to do? What do you need to do? All right, okay. Do I need to go with the Saints or do I need to go with the Falcons? I'm trying to win some money. I might be a Falcons fan, but I'm trying to win some money. So if I have to put my money on the Saints, it's all good. So yeah, they have everything you need right there at the website. You guys listen to us each and every week for all your ATL sports needs via podcast every day. BetOnline has the same exact thing right there waiting for you with all the information you need to make some money. So what I need you to do, head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device and download that bad boy because BetOnline is where the game starts.
We are here one day to Celebration Bowl number 7. It is so exciting down here at the Omni Hotel. We have a super special guest today, and we have Colby Warrior. He is a D lineman for the North Carolina Central Eagles and your representatives for the MEAC in the Celebration Bowl, which of course is taking place on Saturday at the Benz. So first and foremost, gotta ask you, how exciting is it for you to be able to do this in your senior year?
It's so exciting. Growing up around here, watching the Celebration Bowl year in, year out, and not necessarily being a part of it, but just going and seeing how the atmosphere is, I'm excited to just take everything in.
And Kobe, one of the things that I got a chance to play in the bowl game when I was in college and at HBCU and playing these other HBCUs. One thing that I thought was always cool was kind of seeing how other teams function and how they go. Like, what are some of the things that you've seen from Jackson State? Because Coach Prime bringing in a lot of hoopla. What are some of the things that you guys have seen on film from Shadur Sanders and what you're going to be faced with on Saturday?
They're a talented team. They're disciplined. They have their flaws just like any other football team. But,
right, exactly.
We just saw that we're going to have to bring our A game in order to beat them. As simple as that.
And the offense for the Eagles, it brings the A game all the time. I know it's one of the top offenses in the FCS, but let's talk a little bit about the offense in particular. What do you think has made you guys so successful to really start the season that way and kind of sustain your success on offense?
Everybody does their 111 on offense. From the offensive line, they win their one-on-one matchups. Of course, Pee Wee, he does his thing back there. So he's one of those guys that, you never know what you're going to get from him, whether it's a long run or a long pass, you never know. And we really appreciate those receivers for helping them out.
Yeah, it's one of the things that you guys do so well on offense is move the chains. Mm-hmm. Particularly, I was listening to Coach Harrell talk about that during the press conference last week, and he said, we cannot underestimate the Eagles because they definitely know how to move the chains. You guys are, again, one of the tops in the FCS on third down conversions.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So Kobe, I got to ask you, like, I'm a former defensive lineman. Mm-hmm. Third and long. Like, come on, talk to me, man. What's the go-to move? Third and long. Y'all need to stop. What's the go-to move? What you doing?
Well, Jackson got kind of a bigger size offensive line. Okay. So, I don't know. We might kind of get around with a speed rush or maybe a ghost long arm or something like that. You never know. You can bring anything out with these guys, man. It's one of those championship games. So, they're going to see a lot of pass rush moves and a lot of pass rush scenarios and games from us.
Because I know one of the things that my coach always used to tell me, he was like, hey, man, whatever your move is, just you walk around the yard, hit that slap rip. Yeah, slap rip, walk around the yard, man. So people be looking at me crazy like you just slap light poles walking around the yard. So I think that's going to be something that, so I feel like you got something.
Oh, yeah, I got something cooking up, man.
I know you're cooking up something.
We're going to make them move their feet this week. Yeah, they got to move their feet a little bit this week. So they're going to have to dance with us out there.
Right, putting the Tigers on there, right? Yeah, absolutely. And listen, you got to be a gamer because you got to walk in there knowing, just like South Carolina State did last year, hey, we're just as good, if not maybe better than that next team, and we're here to prove that we belong. And the MEAC has done fantastic. SWAC has only won this thing one time. So, in your opinion, what do you think the Eagles need to do to get the MEAC that 6 out of 7 titles for the Celebration Bowl?
We just got to come in and focus. Just keep the main thing the main thing. What got us here is what's gonna get us the win, and just be great on the field. Worry about ourselves.
Yeah.
It's really us playing against us, man. If we don't beat ourselves, I think we'll come out all right.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that South Carolina State, did last year because, obviously a lot of hoopla comes in with a lot of press and everything talking about Jackson State, but South Carolina State did exactly what they needed to do. But I think you guys can definitely do that. But last one for me, man. All right, you're at home. You're at the crib, man.
Yeah.
Sandy Creek High School.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, how is it feeling like, stepping on that field, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, at the crib, going against one of the most notable team colleges in the country?
Well, shout out to Sandy Creek for just winning the state championship.
Oh yeah,
against
it's a little controversial.
Yeah, it is a little controversial, but
I wasn't gonna take you there.
Listen, you don't leave it up to the refs. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well,
that's fair. I respect that.
If every one of the 11 plays their game, then it's good.
Exactly.
So you're right.
So,
you're right.
So I'm just excited to, finally be in the Celebration Bowl, finally be a part of something that's, legendary in the HBCU world and colleges. So it's just, it's one of those things where we just excited, man.
Yeah.
Like we it's like you said, it's a lot of hoopla, it's a lot of, cameras and stuff like that. But they're gonna bring the show. We just gonna make sure we, do our part. Yeah, that's it. Make sure we do that part.
Yeah, and it's so exciting too because we need to let everybody know Colby is a scholar athlete. He truly takes the scholar part seriously. So I do have to ask, like Jarvis said before we wrap up, double masters that we are working on.
Oh, yes.
So you're wrapping up your collegiate career with 2 masters. How exciting is that for you and your family to know that not only are you wrapping up your collegiate career at the highest point, coming in this Celebration Bowl, this championship of Black college football, but also when you step off that field, you're going to be a scholar with 2 masters.
It's going to be great. I graduate this May. I just finished this past semester. Thank you. Yeah. I just finished this past semester with a 4.0. So just keeping those grades up. just keeping those grades up and keeping in touch with the master's community. I have a lot of older people in my program, and they help me out a lot. They're kind of mentors for me off the field. And then, of course, my family and mother and brother are all keeping me motivated because I'll be the first one of our generation to have the double masters and 3 degrees. So it's an exciting time for me. I didn't actually get to walk at Morgan because of COVID and things like that. So I'll be able to walk and just put on the cap and gown, man. It's something I can't wait to feel.
I'm so glad you said that because so many students who were graduating in that COVID time frame, that's the one thing they said they missed out on that they have been looking forward to. So I'm excited that you have that opportunity. And listen, everybody, I'm going to tell you, he get it from his mama because his mama had a 4.0 coming into her freshman year of college. So he got it honestly, man. We are so very proud of you, Colby. Keep doing everything you're doing on and off the field. You are such a great representative for Sandy Creek, for Central, and just for Black college football overall. So keep doing it. Good luck tomorrow. We appreciate you stopping by. Again, guys, this is Colby Warrior. He's a D lineman for the North Carolina Central Eagles, who are going to take on the Jackson State Tigers tomorrow in the Celebration Bowl. And again, if you want these kind of stories, you need to check us out here on ATL Day Ones. You know where to keep it. And after you check out ATL Day Ones, be sure to check out Locked On Sports Today because they're going to be talking about big stories like the Celebration Bowl and who comes out, which champion will rise, and any other stories in the sports landscape. So you'll check us out on the Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you download your podcast because, of course, you want to hear more about Colby, and make sure you check out Locked On Sports Today.
Locked On Sports Atlanta family, listen up. If you want to get in contact with the program, if you want to get in contact with the podcast, if you want to get Tenitra to email you back when she has some time, it's probably going to be really, really late because she has 1,000 jobs. ATLday1s@gmail.com. That's how you get in contact with the show. If you got any suggestions, anything, if you just want to just say hi, I'm okay with that. I will respond to you. Tenitra, I'm working on her. We're going to get her there. ATLday1s@gmail.com. 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 But this is for the culture. It is the intersection between sports, the entertainment, and the culture. And sometimes whatever the hell we want to talk about. But that's how we get down on the show. Today is no different. All right, Todd McShay. had some very interesting comments to say about our guy Jalen Carter, who I feel is the most talented defensive lineman on this team for the Georgia Bulldogs. And I said this last year. It's not hyperbole. I said this last year. He was the most talented defensive lineman on the team last year, and he did not start. So yeah, I think that kind of says what needs to be said about character, right?
Yes.
A good character, right? Yeah, guys just play his role and all that stuff.
Yes.
No, not for Todd McShay. He came on ESPN and he's sitting up here talking about he's going to be the guy that is going to be questioned about character issues, and he doubled down on it several times. I think people will count it 4 times to be exact.
Yes.
That this dude is going to be the guy that's going to be questioned about his character and how he is in the locker room.
Yeah, and listen, if something comes out in the next couple of months as we get closer to the combine, as we get closer to the draft, or even during the college football playoff, we are happy to recant everything that we are about to say. However, we have spoken to several people who are close to that UGA program who literally are there in and out. They have relationships with the coaching staff and with the players, and they were adamant that there's nothing that has ever come out during his entire collegiate career. And that was the point that one of our sources made.
Right.
From freshman year all the way to now, not one bad thing has been said about Jalen Carter. So I'm inclined to believe people who are close and have intimate, platonic, of course, but relationships with the players and with the coaches, I'm inclined to believe them because they know what goes on in and out. And actually, you've heard from a few players as well saying, hey, don't question Jalen's character. He's a good guy. And I thought this was a really interesting comment that one of our people made, our friends made as well. People have different personalities. So, Jarvis is more like a big teddy bear, right, of a D lineman, and he's very verbose and just great personality, right? Yeah. Some people are just chill. They're just Well, so some people are just chill, they're laid back and they just don't say much. They're just kind of intense, and just very serious about what they're doing. So again, I think this is one of those where you have to be careful because Todd McShay, you're messing with this dude's money, okay? Because if he falls, as we know, in the NFL, where you get drafted dictates your rookie contract. So if he moves, and I'll never forget, to me the most egregious one was Randy Moss. Somebody who could have gone in the top 5, arguably the number 1 pick that year. And what did he go, 29?
Yeah, like teams passed up on the Cowboys.
It was crazy. All because of this whole character piece. Right. And you just never know how much that's going to impact. So the fact that, like you said, that he doubled down, that bothered me as well, because everyone who was close to that program everyone has said the polar opposite.
And that's the thing, I like the word that you use, you have to be careful. And you've at least seen this movie before, right?
Yes.
Guys specifically with Adam Schefter when he would tweeted about Dwayne Haskins being deceased, right?
Yes.
And within that tweet, he said, "Oh yeah, the guy who failed," and essentially called him a bust. Within the same tweet that he said that he announced that he had passed away.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of times, certain reporters, certain people on a national stage, they don't humanize these guys.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the issue that I have, and I don't think Todd McShay really thought about what he said before he came on air and went with that, right? Because if you got a source, that's cool, right? How about you do your due diligence?
Yeah.
Go confirm with another source.
Yes.
Because we're talking about journalistic integrity, right? That's what we're talking about. And you were very generic, so generic.
Yeah.
He wasn't specific with anything. I'm not saying don't reveal your source. Sure. I would never say that. Right. So I think you need to at least give an instance or something. Hey, talk to a coach. Talk to such and such, and they told me that blah 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 blah. But you didn't do that.
No.
You were very generic, and we're talking about a dude that's could potentially be a top 5 pick, number 2 overall. So this is something that you don't need to play around with. And this dude is not just some person, not just some stats or statistic that you have to study in order for you to do